Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be digging into something pretty heavy, actually.
Yeah.
Toxic relationships.
Always a fun one.
Right. But also incredibly important because so many people deal with this.
Absolutely.
And we're going to be using the Secrets to Escaping Toxic Relationships video from that Inner Balance Red Print YouTube channel as our guide.
Looks like they've got a whole system going on over there.
Yeah, they promise it's a comprehensive guide, so we'll see about that.
Oh, I'm sure we can poke some holes in it.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe not, but either way, it's always good to get those different perspectives.
Absolutely. And I think one of the most important takeaways right from the start of this video
Yeah.
is how these toxic relationships, they don't just appear overnight.
No.
Right. It's not like, bam, red flags everywhere.
It's very subtle, very insidious.
Exactly. Like it sneaks up on you. So what did the video point out as some of those early signs?
Well, they use some pretty common ones, feeling constantly criticized. Or like your partner's trying to control you.
Right.
Maybe they're downplaying your accomplishment.
Yeah.
But I think it can be even more subtle than that sometimes.
Oh, really? Like what?
Like they're always the victim in every story. Yeah. Or they're constantly guilt-tripping you into putting their needs above your own.
Right.
Like every single time.
Which I guess, when you think about it, makes sense why it's so hard to spot early on. Because if it was just these big, obvious things, you'd be out of there. But it's this like...
Drip, 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 drip.
Drip, drip, drip of negativity.
Exactly.
Has you ever experienced that?
Oh, absolutely.
Like that walking on eggshells feeling the video talks about?
I think most of us have to some degree.
Yeah.
I remember one time early in my career, I got this huge project.
Wow.
So excited about it. But instead of celebrating with me, my partner at the time just kept focusing on the extra hours I'd have to work, how it might take me away from them, almost like they were trying to dim my shine.
That's classic downplaying.
It is, isn't it?
And it ties right into what the video calls out as emotional abuse being at the core of most toxic situations.
Absolutely.
Which is so important to talk about.
It is.
Because so often we think of abuse as like...
Physical. Yeah.
Physical, right.
Exactly.
But emotional abuse is so sneaky.
It really is.
Because it often comes disguised as like love or concern.
Right.
Like the video gives the example of gaslighting.
Oh, yeah.
Where someone's making you doubt your own reality.
Like, in my story, if my partner had kept insisting they were worried for me, not jealous, I might have started questioning if I was the one overreacting.
Wow.
You see how manipulative it can be.
And I think the video really drives home that point about how emotional abuse just erodes your self-esteem over time. It's like if someone's constantly chipping away at you, eventually you start to believe their messed up version of reality.
It's like a slow poison, really.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to recognize the difference between genuine care and control.
That's what the video really digs into.
Yeah.
Because care wants to see you blossom, even if it means you outgrow them.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. But control is all about keeping you small and manageable.
So, like, instead of being excited for you and that big project, that controlling partner is going to try to...
Sabotage it
or make you feel guilty for even taking it on in the first place.
And they'll do it with those little comments like, I just want what's best for you.
Oh, it makes me sick just thinking about it.
Oh, it's awful. But it's so common.
It is. And for anyone listening, if that resonates even a little bit, it's a huge red flag.
Absolutely.
It might not be screaming at you, obvious.
Right.
But it's something to pay attention to, for sure.
100%.
Have you ever found yourself second-guessing what you want?
Oh, yeah. All the time.
Because of someone else's opinion, that felt more like a command.
More times than I can count, and it's not a good feeling.
No, it's not. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to toxic relationships.
Oh, yeah. We're just getting started. It's crazy how easily you can start doubting yourself.
Yeah, it's like that constant questioning of your own judgment. Your wants, your needs.
Like you're not even sure what you want anymore.
Exactly.
And that's where that domino effect the video talks about really kicks in.
Right. It's not just about feeling bad emotionally.
Nope.
It's about the impact on your whole life.
Your whole being, yeah.
And the video doesn't hold back on the consequences.
No, it's very clear about the risks.
Of staying in those toxic environments, linking it directly to things like anxiety, depression.
Yeah. And even your self-worth takes a hit,
It's like that constant negativity just wears you down.
Absolutely.
And what's so interesting is the video also points out the physical symptoms.
Oh, yeah. It's not just in your head.
Like headaches, always feeling tired. Maybe your stomach's always in knots.
It's like your body is trying to tell you something.
Like, get me out of here.
Exactly. I know, I've definitely been there.
All right.
It's crazy how long I ignored those signals. I just thought I was stressed or overworked.
It's easy to dismiss it, for sure.
It wasn't until I started distancing myself from a particularly draining friendship
Oh, wow.
that I realized just how much it was impacting my physical health.
Like it was a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
It's like we have this built-in wisdom, but we don't always listen to it.
That's a great way to put it.
So if you're listening and any of this is ringing true for you, pay attention to those physical cues.
Your body might be trying to tell you something really important.
It might be screaming at you even.
Okay, so let's say you're starting to realize, hey, maybe this relationship isn't as healthy as I thought.
Right, what then?
Well, the video goes into some concrete steps for breaking free.
Okay, I like that.
And the first one that really stood out to me was the emphasis on building a support system.
Oh, that's so important. Having people outside of this situation.
Yes.
Who can give you a different perspective.
Because when you're in it, it's hard to see clearly.
Totally.
It's like you're too close to the forest to see the trees.
Right. So friends, family, a therapist even.
Anyone who genuinely cares about you.
Who wants what's best for you.
Exactly. They can validate your feelings, remind you of your worth when you've forgotten.
It's like having a lifeline when you're drowning in all that negativity.
That's a powerful image. I like that.
And it's not just about having people to vent to.
Yeah.
The video also talks about setting boundaries.
Oh, that's a big one.
Which is something I've struggled with in the past, for sure.
Oh, indeed.
It's so easy to just try to please everyone.
Yeah, you lose yourself in the process.
And you end up sacrificing your own well-being.
It's not sustainable.
Definitely not.
Boundaries are essential, though. They really are.
But they can be tough.
They can be, yeah.
Like, it's about communicating your needs and limits. And then, this is the hard part.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Enforcing them.
Exactly.
Even when it's uncomfortable. Even when the other person pushes back.
Because they will push back.
Oh, they definitely will.
But you got to stand your ground.
You have to.
It's about respecting yourself.
I remember when I first started setting boundaries in a relationship.
Oh, yeah.
It felt so awkward, almost confrontational.
I get that.
But the more I practiced, the easier it became.
It's like anything. The more you do it, the more natural it feels.
And the more respect I gained, both from the other person and, most importantly, from myself.
That's the key.
It's about honoring yourself.
And the video wisely points out that one area where boundaries are often crucial is around finances.
Oh, yeah. This is where things get really interesting.
And a little scary, to be honest.
For sure. The video doesn't sugarcoat it when it comes to financial control as a form of abuse.
No, it's very upfront about it.
We're talking about things like restricting access to bank accounts, dictating spending habits, even sabotaging job opportunities.
It's about control, pure and simple.
It's a way for the abuser to maintain power and keep the other person trapped.
Exactly. If you're financially dependent on someone,
right,
leaving becomes that much harder.
Even if you know it's the right thing to do.
Even if your gut is screaming at you to get out.
Have you ever seen this play out in real life?
Sadly, yes. I had a client once who was an incredible artist.
Wow.
So talented. But her partner constantly criticized her work. Told her it wasn't real art.
Ugh, that's awful.
He controlled all their finances.
Of course.
Made her feel like she had no choice but to rely on him.
It's so manipulative.
It is. It's insidious.
It took a lot of courage and support for her to finally break free.
I bet.
And reclaim her financial independence.
Good for her. That's amazing.
It's heartbreaking, but so important to talk about.
It is.
Because I think a lot of people might dismiss financial control as just being frugal or managing the budget.
Right. They don't see the abuse behind it.
But it's so much more insidious than that.
Absolutely.
And it often ties into that cyclical nature of toxic relationships that the video describes.
Oh, yeah, the ups and downs.
Back and forth.
The push and pull.
Exactly. Those periods of calm and tension that alternate.
Making it so hard to leave.
I know that cycle all too well.
Though we all.
It's like you get those glimpses of the good times, those moments of hope where you think, see, they can be loving and supportive.
Right. You get that little taste of what could be.
But then the tension builds again, the negativity creeps back in.
And you're right back where you started.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
It is. It's draining.
It's classic intermittent reinforcement.
Keeps you hooked on that hope.
But the video really drives home that point that those good times don't erase the damage.
No, they don't.
Done during the bad times.
And that's such a crucial point for anyone listening who might be caught in that cycle.
It's so easy to get caught up in the hope that things will change.
Right, that this time will be different.
But without real effort from both sides, the cycle just continues.
It's a vicious circle.
It really is.
Which is why the video's emphasis on healing and rebuilding self-esteem is so important.
It's not enough to just escape the situation.
Right.
You have to actively work on healing, rediscovering your worth.
Yes.
Learning to trust yourself again.
It's a journey.
It is.
And it takes time.
The video talks about therapy being a valuable tool.
Absolutely.
But it also emphasizes self-care practices.
Oh, like what?
Like journaling, meditation, spending time in nature.
Those are all good ones.
Anything that helps you reconnect with yourself and rebuild that inner strength.
And surrounding yourself with supportive people is crucial during this phase.
Oh, for sure.
People who celebrate your wins, offer a listening ear without judgment.
Yes.
Remind you of your strength and resilience.
Have you ever noticed how much easier it is to believe in yourself?
Oh, yeah, totally.
When you're surrounded by people who already believe in you.
It's like their faith in you becomes a mirror reflecting your own potential.
That's beautiful.
It's like a powerful thing.
It really is, and it's something we all deserve.
And it's not even just about escaping and healing. You know, the video actually goes a step further.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I think is really smart. It talks about how to prevent getting into these toxic relationships.
Oh, that's so key. Because it's like, once you've been through that, once you're like hyper aware of those red flags.
You've got that radar up.
Yeah, exactly. Like you develop a sixth sense for spotting those unhealthy dynamics.
You just know, you know.
And the video's advice is like, trust your gut.
Always trust your gut.
If something feels off.
Even if you can't explain it.
Yeah, even if you can't put your finger on exactly what it is.
Don't ignore it.
Don't dismiss it because it's often your intuition trying to tell you something.
It's like a warning system.
Right. And it's almost like those past experiences, as painful as they were, they become these valuable lessons.
Exactly. You learn from your mistakes.
That we can use to protect ourselves in the future.
It's about growth.
It's about recognizing our worth and refusing to settle for anything less.
Absolutely. You deserve better.
Than respect and genuine care.
100%. And that brings me to a final thought I want to leave you with.
Okay. I'm listening.
Imagine you've escaped a burning building.
Okay.
You're safe, you're breathing fresh air, but you're still standing there covered in soot and ashes.
Right. It's a powerful image.
That's kind of what escaping a toxic relationship is like.
So it's not enough to just get OUT.
Yeah.
You have to clean yourself off.
Heal those burns.
Maybe even learn some fire safety tips for next time.
Right? The video touches on this when it talks about self-discovery and growth. It's not enough to just leave the toxic relationship behind you. You have to actually build a healthier, happier life in its place.
So what does that look like, practically speaking?
Well, I think it starts with getting really honest with yourself about what went wrong in the relationship.
Okay.
Not to blame yourself or anything, but to understand the patterns that led you there.
Like, what were those underlying issues?
Yeah, like, were you seeking validation in all the wrong places? Did you have weak boundaries? Were you afraid to be alone?
Wow, so the toxic relationship wasn't the root cause. It was a symptom of something deeper.
Exactly. So this whole journey of healing and creating a life free of toxicity, it starts with you.
It's about taking ownership.
It is, and it's about figuring out what you need, what you value, what brings you joy.
And then actually having the courage to build a life that reflects those values.
That's it. It's about building a foundation of self-love.
So that any future relationships are built on solid ground.
Not on shaky, codependent sand.
I love that analogy.
And this process of growth and self-discovery, it's ongoing.
Right. It's not like a one-time thing.
No. It's about continuously learning, evolving, becoming the best version of yourself.
So to wrap up this deep dive, we've learned that toxic relationships often start subtly.
Pay attention to those red flags.
Emotional abuse is just as damaging as physical abuse.
Don't underestimate it.
Support systems are absolutely essential.
They'll help you through the tough times.
Setting boundaries is non-negotiable.
You have to protect yourself.
Financial control is a serious red flag.
Don't let anyone take away your power.
And finally, escaping a toxic relationship is just the first step.
The real work begins after you leave.
True healing involves self-discovery, growth, and building a life that truly reflects your values.
It's about creating a life that brings you joy.
Wow, what a powerful message to end on.
It is, isn't it?
So listener, if you're on this journey of escaping toxicity,
you're not alone.
Know that you're not alone. And remember, it's not just about leaving the darkness behind.
It's about stepping into the light.
It's about creating a life that is truly yours.
This has been a really insightful deep dive. Thank you for bringing this video to our attention.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that even in the most challenging situations,
there's always hope.
There's always hope for a brighter future. And to our listener, we hope this conversation has empowered you to prioritize your well-being
and create a life filled with love, respect, and authentic connection.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive, and until next time, keep exploring.